Hey everyone, here is your instructions for week 10. So we're kind of moving on into the STEM planning for your final lesson plan. And so this week you have a combination of just learning a little more and talking about the 5E model and then starting to plan your lesson. So you have just one resource to watch. This one is actually about a curriculum that is specifically designed for elementary. A lot of elementary schools in Oregon purchased this curriculum over the last several years, and but much of it is just sitting on the shelf because teachers were not trained to use it or not given time to actually use a lot of science and engineering in their classrooms. So you may actually find that interesting, and also you might find that curriculum in a classroom in your near future. So this week we're going to start to plan your lessons, and again, like I said, you're going to use a template to take some notes about STEM and the 5Es, and then you're going to start planning. So using this document that's also on the Google Drive, you're first going back to the gingerbread activity, look at how did the gingerbread activity incorporate the 5Es. So what was the engage part of the lesson? What is the explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate? So give a description of each of those steps within that lesson. And again, if you need to be reminded of what each of those are, you can find that information in week 3 of our Canvas site. There was a really great graphic that highlighted the 5E model and the different stages and what those look like. So this might be helpful to have while you're looking through the gingerbread activity and then just labeling those here. Additionally, why should we use STEM to teach elementary students, and what does it mean to integrate STEM content areas? And then you're going to start planning your lesson. So here I've already identified the engineering standard that you're going to be using, but you are going to identify a math standard. So before you can do this, you need to go to your project learning tree text. You're going to pick out another lesson. I would prefer that you really choose a new lesson. You're going to be looking for different things, and that's why. So this lesson is going to need to have engineering either added or already included. And so you're going to want to be strategic about which lessons you pick. You're also going to want to have some math involved in this lesson. So some of the PLT lessons already integrate mathematical practices, and so it would be putting you further ahead if you identify one that does incorporate a math practice. And those are listed in the lesson. So be a curriculum detective on this and look through the lessons, find one that has math or that would be easy to incorporate math. If it already has a math practice, you can include that here or a standard. And then, or if it doesn't, you can go to the Common Core state standards for math for 3rd grade and find one that aligns with your lesson. But you're going to have to make sure that in your lesson you are incorporating math. So an example that we have on our Google Drive is included in week 9, I believe I put it. Let's see. This is an example STEM lesson, and so you will see that this person incorporated, this is the science standard, the engineering standard, and then this is the math, and they actually did kindergarten. So if you want an example of how that might look using a PLT activity, you can go back and look at this example in week 9. Okay, so for the additional note taking or planning, so you're going to describe the activity that you chose here and how you would either incorporate engineering or how it is already included. You're going to need to write at least 2 learning targets, one that identifies what the students will be doing in terms of the engineering and one in terms of the math. And then you're going to start thinking about and describe your notebook page, design the page, and add it to this document when you submit it or as an attachment to the document. So for this week 10, you're going to submit this graphic organizer along with your planned notebook page designed. In the last lesson, a couple of you just described the notebook page, and I want you to actually create a notebook page, and the notebook page can be no more than 2 pages front and back. For third graders, that is enough, and for especially one lesson, that's enough. So it might be helpful to see what are we actually planning, and so I have included the lesson plan template for you to actually take a look at. And this is actually not the right one, so I'm going to take that one out. I think this is the one I modified. We'll see if I have the updated one in here. Okay. So this shows you need to include a math standard here. So just take a look at this lesson plan. As you can see, you're going to need to identify the 5 E's in your own activity. And so be thinking about that as you think about planning your notebook page and your standards. And so this will be what we complete and turn in for your final for week 11. That's it for week 10. Oh, one last thing. You can work individually on this. You can work with a partner, or you can choose to collaborate with your PLC group to do this lesson. I also will say I'm open to allowing you to address a different grade level if you're really interested in maybe writing a lesson for either an upper grade or a lower grade. But keep in mind that if you do K2, you are going to have to go to the NGSS science standards, and you're going to have to choose the engineering standard for K2. It's very similar to this one, but it should say K2 ETS 1-1. Okay, so that's it. I look forward to seeing what you get going for your STEM lessons.